Hi, I'm Mountain Scott, and I'm going to be presenting the budget for the International Student Support Services at Beijing Normal University. So let's jump right in. Our services at the International Student Support, or ISSS, aspires to provide psychological support. The basis behind this is that based on an informal queries from different international students, it has come to our attention that the wait times for psychological counseling or being referred to a psychologist are much longer for international students, sometimes upwards 3 to 6 months compared to the wait times for domestic students. That could be because of lack of psychologists available who speak English, or maybe there's another reason with funding. But whatever it may be, we would like to fill that gap by offering psychological support. We also would like to provide transitional support services, and this will definitely be the meat of our of what we would want to provide with ISSS. And that comes in three forms. There's support regarding financial matters, for example, how to link student cards with bank cards, where are the nearest ATMs, what banks perform Western Union services, how to set up bank card for internet purchases, how to set up WeChat Pay. These are just some examples. There's also practical matters. For example, which hospitals admit foreigners and have staff that will be able to communicate with foreigners just in case a medical emergency happens. How to file an insurance claim after receiving medical services. For example, the lady currently who processes insurance forms, it does not speak English, and that may cause concerns and issues when someone needs to get refunded. And other matters like where to buy groceries off campus, where's the local dentist, where's the local pharmacies, and maybe suggest like technological assistance too, like which apps can help with certain things. Like Baidu Translate is a wonderful app for its many different applications for translating from words and verbal. Lastly, academic matters. Students, they come here and they want to further their academic capabilities beyond just what they're assigned in class. So we can offer information on how to publish in academic journals, how to utilize the school library, especially the online journal database, which can be accessed from their dormitories, how to fill out the dissertation proposal, because the dissertation proposal online application is all in Chinese. And one thing that's been recently noticed is that the form, the guide for filling out the dissertation proposal application is not updated. So some of the information in the guide doesn't match. ISS will also compose explanatory literature and serve as a hub for student assistance in acclimating and navigating through hurdles of international student life. So any of the examples I've given aren't meant to be exhaustive. So besides, in addition for academic matters, we want to be able to provide a service for students to be able to give feedback on the quality of academic on the quality of the education that they feel like they are receiving. And this can be accomplished through certain feedback loops. These feedback loops can be materialized by evaluation forms at the end of classes, for example. The evaluation forms can include collection of data on teaching styles, the quality of instruction, and course met the students' expectations. This is particularly useful when students choose between elective courses and may serve as a useful feedback for professors themselves if they choose to review the findings. I've noticed that the Western professors that I've had, for example, offer end-of-course evaluations, but not so much with the Chinese professors. The departmental evaluations can also allow students to comment on the support and services provided by ISSS, which is our organization. The International Students Office, which is a department that already exists here, and the departments of all international majors. For example, the Institute of Comparative Education and the Faculty of Education in general. This will help to, like I said, these feedback loops can help to improve these programs and make sure that students are having the best academic experience possible. Okay. As the name of our organization implies, we seek to focus our efforts on international students. According to the BNU website, there are about 23,800 full-time students, and 1,800 of those full-time students are international students. So that it's about a 7.5% of all students at BNU are international students. So therefore, we will allocate funds based on a presumed international student population that is 7% of total projected student population. And so we can get the numbers from admissions each year or base our projections on past increases or decreases in the rate of international student admissions. But the general rate we're noticing is 7.5%, but we're going to lower it to 7% just to be conservative. All right, let's talk about our purpose, our organizational structure, and as well as our prioritizing our objectives. Okay, first things first here. There we go. All right, so our vision. This is going to be the overall, perhaps metaphor that guides us, or the ideals that guide our organization. And our vision is that all international students feel welcomed, respected, and supported throughout their BNU academic experience as global citizens who will disseminate their talents and knowledge within and beyond China's borders. Our mission at ISSS is to strive to enhance the cross-cultural acclimation of international students to BNU student life and expand opportunities for academic success. Our values are threefold. First, we believe that having a family should not be a burden on personal development. We believe that the academic success of international students is affected by their ability to adapt to their surroundings and cope with adversity. And we believe students should have a voice in assessing the quality of their education. Now, if we look back at the first value statement, one of the things we would like to do is offer information on for students who have families, which is often in the graduate level class. They are usually of childbearing age in their home countries, and many of them already have families, and so helping them navigate, how to access housing and childcare is very important. And as far as having a voice in assessing the quality of their education, well, we discussed that earlier with the intention to offer evaluations, course evaluations, and interdepartmental evaluations. And our objectives, which are more direct. So once again, to provide transitioning support to international students with children, to expedite the accessibility of psychological counseling services to international students, to disseminate informative literature to international students, to establish a formal grievance process for international students. Now, a formal grievance process, that's all. Sometimes some things might happen that could possibly tarnish the reputation of the school. Maybe a student did something inappropriate with another student. Who does he go about letting it know. And in situations where there's a person of authority and a person who's not of authority, just as an example, a professor perhaps said or did something to make a student uncomfortable, and that's affecting, which could in turn affect his academic abilities. These type of things, there needs to be some sort of process in which students could air their grievances. And so we would like to establish that at the ISSS. And the last statement is to implement informal instructor course and departmental evaluations services. And these are informal because we don't intend for these evaluations to have any bearing, or for our office or to have the authority to for these the results of these evaluations to have any bearing on the the employee evaluations at the end of the year, the employee and staff evaluations at the end of the year. So an instructor, of course, can ignore positive or negative evaluations from students, for example, and departments can ignore feedback from the evaluations. But we believe that having access to this data would be useful if it's taken seriously. However, we do not want to position ourselves as having the authority to have influence on the hiring and firing of staff. Okay, let's go back. So now let's move into our organizational structure. We have a very basic top to bottom organizational structure with the Director of International Student Support Services at the top. So let's go into the different positions. First, we have the data analyst, who's in charge of processing data provided by the data collection staff, also for analyzing data to identify trends and applying statistical methods when feasible. They are intended to present their findings to the director at the end of each fiscal year. There's the data collections officer. They compose beginning and end of semester student surveys, meeting the response rate requirements for surveys set by the director, working with the data analyst to compose beginning and end of semester evaluations, specifically instructor course and departmental evaluations. They are to stay in contact with alumni to determine after graduation satisfaction. Staying in contact with alumni is very important because you can figure out how well their employment's going, how they feel about the school now that they are no longer have any fears of possibly a bad comment or something maybe affecting their grades. And it also can get a lot of qualitative feedback of what could be done better. And we of course want to make our alumni happy at BNU, or so they can help contribute to the success of incoming students. The dispute resolution officer sets the protocols for student grievances, for the student grievance process, the types of complaints that would initiate a formal grievance, for example. He or she will ensure that formal grievances reach the appropriate authority, and he or she will record the grievance outcomes. For example, even if all parties could not reach a satisfactory solution, there still will be a record of what occurred